I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot, I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. B1 code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. B1AG.
What is going on? What is growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1AG. I'm John Henry Harris. We also have Farmer Brown, the MC, and this is B1AG, the Daily Bread Podcast. Here at B1AG, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, education, marketing, health, food, nutrition, and economics for the Black family and also for the Black community. Welcome back. We have another episode for you. Today is a little bit different. We were doing research for the story, and everybody's noticing the higher food prices, and comes to find out that there is a class action lawsuit for those who purchase chicken in Missouri or Illinois. And if you purchase chicken from the grocery store in Missouri or Illinois from January 1st, 2009 through December 31st, 2020, you may be eligible to receive part of a $181 million class action lawsuit. Now, we know how much chicken is a part of the American diet, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that can lay claim to that lawsuit. But today, what we're really going to focus on today is the fact that, we think about food and farming. The last thing that comes to our mind is organized crime. But that's what we're going to talk about today. Mob ties, organized crime and agriculture. There is a link. There is a historical link between organized crime and agriculture. And if you look at the founding of this country, with slavery, the stock market was started with agricultural goods used with stolen labor. So crime and agriculture, honestly, has always gone hand in hand. We think about these mob figures and organized crime figures, your John Gotti's and Frank Lucas's and, even fictionally Nino Brown, even the drugs and the alcohol, those are still agricultural products. But today we're gonna dive a little deep into it and show the mob ties, organized crime and agriculture. Farmer Brown, what do you got to say about this, man?
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. Hope everybody's doing well. Follow the money. Money makes the world go round. And so in 2020, Black farmers currently own 0.52% of America's farmland. Not 52%, not 1.52, 0.52% of America's farmland. They make on average less than $40,000 a year. Meanwhile, 95% of America's farmers are white and make at least $190,000 a year. Black farmers on average make about $40,000 a year. White farmers make up $190,000 a year. And these are averages. Agriculture is a $1 trillion a year business. It is a business. Agriculture is natural as grass and soil, but it's what feeds the world. Not only does it feed the world, it provides the different products, fuel and fiber, from our clothes to the construction materials. Black farmers only farm on 0.52% of the land where this money is generated. And so when we have this conversation about mob ties, one of the things we talk about here at B1AG, not just the production aspect of it, but the culture. There was a time where there was no such thing as tennis shoes. Tennis shoes weren't a thing that people would spend tens of thousands of dollars on in a year until it was marketed as a culture. Michael Jordan, not to digress from this agricultural conversation, was an icon that basketball became a part of our culture. You know, this guy can jump and slam dunk, and oh, how was he able to do it? And so companies like Nike were able to create tennis shoes and kind of make this thought in your mind that, hey, if you get this tennis shoe, you'll be able to jump like this man and slam dunk. Fast forward, you know, because I grew up in the age when the Jordans first jumped off, right back in the 80s. They became stylish. Over time, it became a culture. So some of the same Air Jordans that cost $85 back in the 80s now going to hit you for about $1,000, depending on if you get them custom made. But saying that to say, it's now become a part of culture. And so what are some of the other things that drive our culture? It's mob mentality. When we think about a lot of rap music, when we think about the movies, you know, your Scarface, Menace to Society, some of the old school movies, like you had mentioned, Frank Lucas, Bumpy Johnson. When we think about these characters that have influenced specifically melanated culture in North America, a lot of times we overlook the agricultural component. But I definitely look forward to getting into this conversation.
Now, what the story that originally took us on this journey was the lawsuit. And this comes from Missouri. It said if you bought chicken from the grocery store over the last decade, you could be in line for a cut of $181 million class action settlement. A number of poultry producers, including Tyson, were sued and accused of conspiring to restrict the supply and fix the price of chicken. Anyone who purchased chicken in Missouri or Illinois from January 1st, 2009 through December 31st, 2020 could be eligible to receive money. Now, we've done a few stories before about Missouri. It was a group of Missouri farmers who actually was one of the first to block the debt relief for the black farmers. They're the ones that filed the lawsuit claiming reverse racism for the black farmers receiving debt relief. And then also in Missouri, and there were the farmers with the fake organic seeds. So this mob mentality, especially in agriculture, it runs deep in Missouri.
And I would contend around the country, like you pointed out in the intro, this is what America was built on. Before there was technology, iPads, iPhones, even the stock market, there were agricultural products that our ancestors mastered. But, you know, as we get into this concept of culture, and so this is from the Washington Post, this is a few years ago, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, the old cliche goes. But in Sicily, new paper contends that lemons also made the mafia. A peer-reviewed paper published in the Journal of Economic History argues that the infamous organized crime ring out of Sicily has roots in 19th century lemon industry. Economist Arcangelo D'Amico and two co-authors contend that the mafia would not exist without a boom in global citrus trade that spans several decades. And so, once again, you know, we idolize these Sicilian mafias, you know, the Italians, the cigars, the smoky rooms, you know, the concept of Al Capone, the smoky rooms, prohibition and all of that. But it was built on agriculture. When we think about current events, what's going on in the Middle East, what we call Afghanistan, we see that the democracy didn't work too well as the Taliban is now taking over that country just like that. But what else is going on in that place? Opium. Opium is an agricultural product that we're not talking about a couple $100 million. We're talking about trillions of dollars when you think of the products that are derived from opium. A lot of our medicines. And so, you know, you can go to your pharmacy trap house and get some of these absolutely citrus mob. You can go to some of your pharmacies, your corner trap houses, and get legal pharmaceuticals. But then you think about the blocks. Okay, you got that boy, you got that girl. This is derived from agricultural products. When you think about that coke, when you think about the weed, all of these are agricultural products. And so, we're not here to promote organized crime, but I think this is a time to get organized in the way we're approaching this agriculture, especially when it comes to Black producers. Once again, you think about just over the 90s, we were talking about hip hop and some of the movies that indelibly impacted young men. I'm not going to lie. When I had hair, I had the O-Dog braids. I had the khakis. When Snoop was coming out talking about chronic, here in Kentucky, we was turned up. Down south, Master P and all them and Pimp C was talking about slanging them things, that it became a culture. And so even if you really didn't want to get in selling drugs because you're programming yourself with this content, it becomes a part of your lifestyle. Unfortunately, a lot of our women, because women by nature, I want the alpha. I want the one who can hunt and bring something back to the hut. And so a lot of us were culturalized to see, I can go out and bring this back to the hut by selling this product. And so, we're not here to disparage anybody in what their life paths have taken us, as all of us have, pursued different life paths. But my thing is, when we think about the Tony Montanas, when we think about these mobsters that have influenced and even gained respect from some of the alphas within our community, our goal is let's focus on the agricultural piece of it, the production piece. We see that Tyson took a playbook from the Sicilian Mafia. Okay, we're talking about flipping chickens that could possibly get us locked up in prison for decades. They're really flipping chickens. And, I'm going to corner this market and I'm going to sell it to you high. I'm going to control the market. Saying that to say, how can we get our melanated minds? Because we saw what we did just since the 80s to now and, producing the big Meaches, the D Browns. We did our thing in the dope game. So can we do it in the hope game? Can we do it in the food production game?
BMF, we really need to have a agricultural BMF. Master P is on his way. There are a lot of brothers and sisters around the country that are providing food for their communities. They're on their way. But the same business acumen that our youngsters have used in this illegal dope game, we need them to use that same mindset in agriculture. And it's the same thing. If you can do that, you can, like I said with the Tyson, if you can flip chickens, you can flip chickens. It's the same thing. It's a product. So I hope our watchers, our viewers, can understand where we're coming from, and I hope that some of our young brothers and sisters just put their minds on agriculture for a moment and see if they can find a spot. Find your trap in agriculture.
I encourage a lot of the family who are into reading and fact checking. Here at B1AG, like we continuously say, we don't have all the answers. Our goal is to really contextualize this conversation, right? I encourage you to research agriculture in Italy. Once again, when we think of Italy, we think of pasta and mobsters. And so this is as of the 90s and early 2000s. And so there's presidents over there getting killed because they're redirecting subsidies. We had this conversation the other day about subsidies, how a lot of the Black farmers aren't getting access to these subsidies that are needed to keep your farm operation going. But a lot of their mob over there is built on siphoning these subsidies from the government. As above, so below. Some people call this the new Rome, whether you see Rome or Babylon, however you want to say it. But you got to understand whatever's going on over there in that part of the body, this earthly body, goes on over here. Tyson is just kind of the canary in the cave of how deep did this rabbit hole of food production go. And so, like I said, a lot of us, when we think about mob ties, we immediately go to drugs. I remember when I first got into agriculture and growing and everything, my friends would always assume that I was growing weed. Oh, I know what you're doing, bro. You trying to grow some corn. I want to grow food. And so saying that to say on a broader scale, let's look deeper into food production. If we were able to master the dope game, if we were able to have pigeon calls, if we were able to really organize these distribution networks, running from the 12, we got very creative. And so it's literally tapping into that exact same genetic predisposition of our people to understand how to operate in chaotic climates, in competitive climates. Can we create that same energy around, okay, I want to make sure, because I know there's all of these other food systems that are wanting to get food to my community. And many times this food that they're trying to get to my community is 3rd and 4th grade level. We shouldn't even be eating it. It's giving us these pre-existing conditions, these comorbidities. And so I'm going to get my hustler mindset and make sure, grandma, I'm going to make sure these kids, I'm going to make sure these young mothers, I'm going to make sure these brothers out here, trying to make it do what it do, get access to some of this healthy food. It doesn't take going, I would definitely encourage the brothers and sisters to look into your land grant institutions in particular. Let's make better use of these HBCUs. We see that some of them can be coon factories, but we want to make some of these HBCUs become what their mission statement says they're supposed to do. And this is produce melanated people to go into melanated communities and make them better. And so that starts with culture. If we can make agriculture as gangsters we've made, selling all of these other products, this is progress, family. This is progress. Because best believe, and as this article shows, as this story shows, there are many factions around the world, not just the U.S., but around the world, to realize, damn, it's more people that eat than do dope. It's considerably, exponentially more people that have to eat every day. You don't have to do dope, right? We know dope is profitable, but what does Hen say? Food flips harder than anything you can mention. Fresh up out the field and whip it up in the kitchen. If we can apply that same mindset to food production, feeding the melanated family, the mandates, we want you to get this meeting with Dr. Jabinski. We have all of these things, the food shortages, the supply chain disruptions. We have all of these reasons why we need to reassert ourselves. When I look at the low representation of this $1 trillion that the black farmers are getting, only 40,000, and your white counterparts that don't know more or less than you about how to put something in the ground or how to feed something, process it into something that somebody's going to eat. It ain't that our farmers don't know how to do that. They don't get the support. Why don't they get the support? Let's be honest, family, it's not a big part of our culture. This is a rhetorical question. How many of us wake up in the morning? I'm gonna count my stash. I'm gonna map out. Now, where am I gonna hit up today? How many of us wake up in the morning thinking about, now, man, am I gonna spend? If I make $100 today, if I make $500 today, am I gonna codify an intentional percentile of that? I'm not gonna spend everything I got, getting food. Nobody does that. But are we consciously making this a part of our culture? To where the young cats that right now that's in elementary school, they're still kind of getting a gauge of what the world looks like. And the dope game does way better promotion than the ag game, because the dope game got rap music, it's got your clubs, it's got your movies, it's got all your major productions that stoke our interest, that stimulate that dopamine. And so as a B1 community unified around, we want to be here, we want to win. We don't want to just survive. We don't want to just get from day to day. When this 2050 number comes that they say we'll be at zero wealth, we want to flip that around. We want to flip that around, and it's doable, family, but it starts with culture, and we're the cultural drivers. Can we make the food game as popping as the dope game?
Get your gangster garden started today. Get your gangster garden started today. So, Farmer, any of the final words?
It was a very interesting article, reading through it, and it just only further cements our contention that we got to get into this. Our ancestors already did it, so that's our advantage, right? You do a SWOT analysis. What is your strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? Our strength is this is embedded in our DNA. And we're not, we are a genetically modified group right now. A piece of Brother Red Pill and Blue Pill, they were talking about how, hey, you notice the generation that started eating all of these Terminator seed corn products. This is what's in our cereal. this generation is kind of self-destructive. And so has this concept of seed termination been embedded into our diets? But what I know is they haven't killed that ancestral gene of ours to produce. Because, technically in the long time frame of humanity, I mean, depending on whose timeline you're going by, we've been here hundreds of thousands of years, sometimes millions of years. Dr. Phil Valentine, there has never been a time in existence that we weren't. And so that's getting into a whole nother topic. But saying that to say they haven't taken that out of our genes yet. There's a lot of gene therapies in motion right now that, let me take this out of you, while I have your attention, while y'all are distracted, while y'all are beefing with one another. But saying that to say our strength is we have it in our DNA. We what did we say the other day? We're some of the most charitable people on this planet. Most dope boys I know, the real ones, they're charitable people. I got to do what I got to do with what I got to do it with, but I'm still charitable, right? And so that's in our that's in our genes. What is the weaknesses? Like I said, right now our weaknesses are distractions. There's a everyday campaign that wants to remind us of how weak you are. Y'all are needy. Y'all aren't able to do this. Y'all can't get codified. You see how your women hate your men. You see how these men hate your women. You see how this person does this in the bedroom and you don't agree with it. We're reminded all of these. This person is red. This person is blue. This person lives in this zip code that I own. That person lives in that zip code that I own. But y'all are going at each other. Battle royale. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. The opportunity is right now the food system is in disarray. What did Rahm Emanuel say? Let no crisis go to waste. So right now, there are not too many people, fam, that can come through and trip us up if we decide on a grassroots level. Nobody has to fund us. Nobody has to incentivize us. Nobody has to, let me give some charity and help you. You poor nigglets, come on. Nobody has to do that. The opportunity is to the degree that we decide, what, fam, this is important. The code is the leader. Not getting caught up in personalities. Now, let me take the things I'm good at and apply it to this concept of getting food from seed to table. And what are the threats? What are the threats? This is agriculture is a competitive game. We were just watching a video. I'm not sitting here saying, you can just grow out in the field and suddenly you'll grow your food and not have some blood, sweat, and tears. So the threats are, it can be some work on your body if you're wanting to get extensive. It's going to cost money. Anything worth anything, you're going to have to pay something, whether it's your time, effort, energy, or some capital. Sometimes it's a hard thing just reforming your mind that, yesterday, this was important, but, slowly over time, I need to start reevaluating this as being important. Illuminati ain't going to stop us, family. Illuminati can't stop us, right? What are the other threats? Public scrutiny. Anybody that would scrutinize you and has a problem with you learning how to grow your own food, building a network of Black producers around you, helping to enrich these Black producers, helping to promote these Black farmers. Anybody around you that has a problem with that, they ops. They ops. Your opinion don't matter. Can you feed anybody? Do you know how to get food to somebody? If you don't, this is a conversation that you don't have to be in. Outside of that, I can't think of any threats. We do have a threat of your governing body wants to keep starving our Black farmers out. So once again, as a melanated community that wants to get to the next day, that wants to thrive, that wants to be dominant in this world, that, this is a jungle, right? Survival of the fittest. There may be some truth with that. And so I know naturally, guess what? We come from a fit people. We come from fit ancestors. And so are we going to keep working out in these streets, poisoning each other? Or are we going to work out in these streets and feed each other? And this is a choice each of us can make.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe to the B1AG Daily Bread podcast on YouTube. You can check us out at the Black Boss channel. Hey, y'all, we got to get this conversation growing. We need to have this conversation bigger. We need more people aware and conscious of our food systems, the challenges and the changes that are going on because they are drastic. I mean, from artificial meats to 3D printed food to, Terminator seeds and GMOs and it's getting weird out here. It's getting very weird out here. So we need to kind of get back to nature, get back to what we know, and get that and let's grow. Get back to what we know and let's get back to growing. And you can also check us out at healthyblackfood.com. You can learn how to grow your own food there. We have a class. It's a great class. Definitely a great place to start. Hit us up at b1aghiphop@gmail.com. Any questions, concerns, comments, ideas? Let's form a hub of ideas and solutions to help fix and create and just reinforce a new food system to make sure that we are food secure. Because at the end of the day, if you ain't eating, you ain't doing nothing. If you ain't eating, ain't nothing happening. So, Farmer Brown, all these mob ties, hopefully we can raise, a whole generation of gangster gardeners. But if they really want to know something, what do they need to do, bro?
If you really want to know something, let's learn how to grow something.
There it is. Have a great weekend, y'all. Stay safe. Stay safe. Never stop growing. Until next time, John Henry Harris, we have Farmer Brown the MC. This is B1AG Daily Bread Podcast. Peace out.